Let's call the November 2nd, 2020 meeting of the Dalton City Council to order. Mr. Wall will lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to
The flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. The agenda is before you. Any corrections, additions, deletions? Dear motion, we approve the agenda. So moved. Motion by Ms. Harlan, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Goodlett. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Next is the time we allow for anybody from the public to speak on any issues in the city or anything else on your mind. Pablo?
Thank you for the opportunity to present and share with you something what's going on in the community. And this is about how we are being affected by the pandemic. I brought the coronavirus here. I want to make sure everybody understands that it's visible. Since the pandemic started, I've been facing, that's fine, you can hear, a lot of challenges like everybody of you, or so many families. The reason why I'm here is because I think I have the moral obligation to share with you what's going on in our community. In the name of so many families, especially my patients that I lost, family Freire, Rodriguez, Castillo, Brito, and the latest one, Salazar, and many other families that we lost in our community. We don't know if we continue just watching and not do more things about the situation. My concern and the concerns of many doctors and many of the ones who are in the front line is that we're gonna lose so many families and we're gonna have a lot of suffering and our hospital could be overwhelmed. And that's the reason I'm coming here to present not only the situation that is real, but at the same time, some solutions. The Hispanic community at the beginning, as you know, has been affected disproportionately, and thanks to you and the money that you put through the DO clinic to do more testing, we've been being able, in conjunction with the health department, trying to have another opportunity of testing in our community at the community center. At the beginning, we are 2 months doing testing, and we almost get 1,000 people get tested. At the beginning, we were having the same positivity rate like the health department. It was 8.5%, 9%. Over the last 2-3 weeks, we see a jump in the positivity rate to 16%. 1.6, comparing to 12% from the health department. There was last Sunday, almost 50% of the people who show up to be tested came back positive. And that was alarming. And alarming in the sense that the prevalence is higher in our community, the incidence is getting higher, and we don't see the number of deaths yet, but we're gonna see, unfortunately. I wanna give you an idea how from 100 people, 80%, they have mild symptoms. They recover at home, no problem. 20%, they get moderate to severe symptoms. They have pneumonia. From this 20%, 10, they go to the hospital. And from the 10 patients that go to the hospital, 5 get complicated with respiratory symptoms, end up in the ICU. And from these 5, 2 or 3 die after being intubated. So you can say last year, if I remember, flu killed 2 people in our community in 6 months, from September to March. And now we are 65 people succumbed in the same period from March to September. So the question is, the mortality obviously is higher. The situation is, are we doing enough testing? The answer is no. Because if we said it's 1% the mortality from the virus, and we have 5,000 people that got the virus, 1%, that will be 50 families dead. But actually, the mortality is from 1 to 3%. That's basically in the US. If we said it's 3%, the number of people who got the virus is triple than the number that we have right now, that is about 6,000. So the activity, as much as we open and we lose our dynamics in the community, and now with the schools opens and events, we just had the fair open in our community, it was packed. I was able to watch kids without masks lining up to go into the carousels and all the games that they have there. They are the ones, unfortunately, that they bring the virus in a asymptomatic phase or with mild symptoms to the home. Many elderly people get affected, many people with underlying conditions get affected, and the situation is chaotic in the sense that the ones who recover are in bankruptcy. They are in debt to the hospital, and they're not going to be the same again. They have complications. 20, 30%, they have heart complications. They go into congestive heart failure. They cannot breathe well. People with pulmonary fibrosis, a lot of complications in the cognitive. I've been seeing patients with psychological cognitive issues after they recover and survive the COVID. So for me, this is personal lately, affected one of my relatives. I go every day to see my patients, knowing if I'm going to bring the virus or not. I be tested every week lately because of the way how I see the transmission is going up. And I think that if we continue the same thing, I don't know if I'm not going to be here again in the next few months, or any of your relatives or of your family is going to be affected, and we're going to have the worst experience for many of us. So I'm trying to see how we can help, because for 1 minute, I would like that you think that this is not political. For 1 minute, I would like that you relate this issue as a compassion, solidarity issue, as an issue that affects all of our community, that we are in this endeavor and in this problem together. And one of the main solutions, and I know everybody knows that we don't have a therapeutic, we don't have the vaccine yet, and that's going to be until 6 months or probably more until everybody gets vaccinated, and we don't know how many are going to accept the vaccine or not. But this is not short term. This is going to be long-term effort. And we have a powerful tool, and that's why I brought the virus. And I'm going to just be brief, sharing with you some studies. Why is the reason the mask has been used? It's not protect you, the one who use the mask, but it's going to protect the other who doesn't have the infection or is not using the mask. But the advantages of using masks in a proportion more than 50 or 75% of our community using masks is significant in terms of the reduction of the virus. And I'm going to just exemplify at the University of Washington. They did experiments with hamsters at the beginning. Before we knew that there is 3-4 days of asymptomatic phase that the virus can be shed without having symptoms. At the beginning, it said it's going to protect the ones from other people that's not coming to me. But actually, using the mask protect the other person too. If I am asymptomatic and I'm a portator of the virus, I cannot pass to the others. So it's not 50% reduction. The other one who is using at another 25 is 75% reduction in the transmission of the virus if both are using the mask and both are separated. So with the time, we've been seeing how this virus is transmitted. At the beginning, we thought It's just do not touch, clean surfaces. That's not the way of transmission of the virus, and this is wrong. It's only a minimal % of people who get the virus through that way. The transmission is through air. When I speak, when I talk, when I breathe, probably 2 meters or 6 feet. But when I sneeze, when I cough, it can go more, 6, 8 meters, 23 feet. So the other is the aerosolized small particles that are in the air that can travel, especially in areas that are not well ventilated. And that applies to our schools. And the issue of this hamster that I'm gonna show you, there were hamsters in one area and hamsters in the other area. And the hamsters who had the coronavirus, like this one, they mask. And the rate that they transmit to the other hamsters was only 15% if the cage was masked. The other scenario was, what about if the people who were healthy, the hamster who were healthy, and we put here and we put air blowing to this side, how much is going to affect if we cage the other aisle where the hamsters who are healthy are there? So 33% got infected. And what happens if we don't have masks in both, and the hamsters here are sick and the hamsters there are not sick, and they blow air from that area to the other? 65% pass the virus from here to there. And the problem that the hamsters were on the other side, not only got a significant viral load, they were significantly sick, and many died. So the use of masks is well proven, and you can search a lot of scientific experiments, a lot of reports, a lot of science. You can see how many cities, especially in Europe and Asia, because of the use of masks, they've been able to go more in the productive way, economically got better, and people suffering got less. So I'm just trying to share this information because there is an opportunity, and the window of opportunity is so small. If we just let it go its course, it's going to affect many of us. If we do something in terms of how we're going to enforce a mandate for mass use, like other cities been doing, if I'm official at the health department and I check restaurants and I see that the food is now, I will put a fine. But this is a public health. It's a matter of to protect the people that we live here. We are living in the same town. And we need to understand that in conjunction with a program of education, we can do this. We can make everybody use the mask, and we're not able to put a shutdown economically is going to affect that. Using the mask is more effective than having another shutdown. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Perez. Minutes are before you from the last meeting, October 19th, 2020. Any changes, additions, deletions? Your motion, we approve them. Motion by Ms. Harlan, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Wall. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. New business. We got 2 new 2020 alcohol beverage applications. Ms. Harlan, you got that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, the Public Safety Commission last Tuesday approved 2 licenses. One is a new license. The location is 312 North Glenwood Avenue. It's for the sale of packaged beer, packaged wine, and packaged liquor. The business owner is God is Good LLC. It's doing business as Tequila's Liquor. The applicant is Juan Carlos Jimenez. Is anyone here? Okay. But that was approved by Public Safety Commission on Tuesday. The second one is also a new license. This is for the pouring of beer, wine, and liquor. This is going to be Logan's Roadhouse, which people may be familiar had closed down a while back. So this is for a new license, and the applicant, Andrea Mills, is that person here this evening? Okay. So the PSC is already approved, so I make a motion that we approve both licenses.
Motion by Ms. Harlan, is there a second? Second. Second by Mr. Cruz. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Number 3, Spectra contract flooring, carpet, and tile cleaning agreements for the Public Works Administration Building.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For your consideration tonight are two agreements with Spectra Contract Flooring for the annual cleaning of carpet and tile at the Public Works Admin Building. Cost is a little over $5,500 annually, and that's to be paid through our department's building maintenance budget. Pricing remained the same as 2020.
Any questions of Andrew? Your motion on that? Motion by Mr. Goodlett. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Harlan. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. 4, professional service agreement with Chastain and Associates for surveys of Ridge Street and Glenwood Avenue.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor and Council. This is related to our goals of improving the city stormwater system. We have a professional services agreement for your consideration with Chastain and Associates for 2 drainage area surveys. The first location is what we call the Walnut North Drainage Basin. That includes areas like Ridge Street, McFarland Avenue, Franklin Street, and Valley Drive. There's several drainage concerns in that basin that we're looking at. And also the area around 631 North Glenwood Avenue to the east toward Elm Street. The location maps for these 2 areas are in your packet. And the surveys are needed, as I said, to facilitate a detailed drainage assessment of these 2 basins and look at available solutions. Cost is $24,500. Funding source is the 2015 SPLOST stormwater funds. Completion schedule is 10 weeks.
Any questions of Andrew? Your motion on this?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Goodlett, second by Ms. Harlan. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Number 5, resolution 20-22, authorizing the purchase of real property being lots 20, 21, and 22 of Stonewood Chase subdivision.
Thank you. This resolution would authorize the city to enter into a purchase agreement for 3 vacant lots within Stonewood Chase subdivision on the north side of Covey Ridge for purposes of construction of a permanent detention pond to address several drainage concerns within this basin and downstream on Winton Drive. The lots that we would be purchasing are low-lying in nature, perfect for development of a detention pond. And it's actually the site of the former temporary sediment basin when this subdivision was originally developed. The plans for the project have been completed. And to move the project forward, we need to be able to purchase these lots and obtain construction easements from a couple of downstream property owners. The cost of the purchase of these lots is $30,000 total, and an appraisal was performed to determine fair market value. Funding source, again, will be the 2015 SPLOST, and it received a positive recommendation from the Public Works Committee at the October 2nd meeting to move forward.
Any question of Andrew? Your motion on this? Motion by Ms. Harlan, second by Mr. Wall. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Next, resolution 20-23, authorizing the purchase of real property located at 915 Brookwood Drive.
Yes, sir. Very similar to the previous business item, this is to acquire the lot and structure at 915 Brookwood Drive for purposes of creating floodplain storage area. This is a little bit different from the last one where we're doing a permanent detention pond. This property is located entirely within the floodplain, and there's about 5 or 6 different property owners having issues in that basin that we look to be able to address through this project. The preliminary grading plan for the project estimates that we can create 30,000 cubic feet of floodplain storage. And in conjunction with constructing the storage basin, we'll be rerouting several drainage pipes on Brookwood Drive and Stoneley Road to address several different concerns for nearby property owners that are long-standing. The cost of acquiring this property is $180,000, and again, a fair market value assessment was performed by an independent appraiser. And this was the agreed purchase price with the seller. And the funding source is the 2015 SPLOST again for stormwater projects. This also received a positive recommendation from the Public Works Committee.
Questions, Andrew? Is there a motion on this? Motion by Ms. Harlan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Goodlett. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Next is resolution 20-24, authorizing the sale of real property to 891 College Drive LLC.
Mr. Mayor, if we could explain this one and the next item as well, they're related, and then we can take two separate actions, but they're related, so I think it makes sense to talk about them together. If any of you were on the council in 2017, you might recall ordinance 17-11, which was to close a portion of the old College Drive right-of-way and convey said portion of the right-of-way to the adjacent property owners since the road was no longer needed for public purposes. That passed in 2017, and the adjacent property owners paid fair market value for said property. If you've been on College Drive recently, you probably noticed a lot of activity. Developers working on development of that site and constructing a large retaining wall to address site topography challenges. The existing property lines, if you looked at the survey in your packet, are somewhat irregular and narrow as you approach the southern end of the property, and it's making the retaining wall a little bit difficult to tie in properly to the city right-of-way at the new College Drive right-of-way. And therefore, the adjacent property owners, 891 College Drive LLC and S&S Property Holdings, have requested to purchase an additional strip of narrow land adjacent to the College Drive right-of-way. The tracts are 0.05 of an acre each. And as I said, the survey is in your packet that depicts those two tracts. And this is allowable under state law to facilitate the enjoyment of the highest and best use of the abutting owner's property. This is, for your information, this is area that we're having to mow and weed eat now. It's a steep slope. And so I think it makes sense from a staff perspective to recommend approval of this so that a retaining wall can be extended and the maximum use of that site can be enjoyed by the property owner in the city. Each adjacent property owner would pay fair market value for those tracts, and the fair market value for each of those is a little over $1,800.
Any questions of Andrew on either one? There a motion on resolution 2024 to sell the property 891 College Drive LLC?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Goodley, is there a second? Second, Ms. Harlan, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Next is resolution 2025 authorizing the sale of real property to S&S Property Holdings LLP. There a motion on this one?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Walls, or second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Harlan, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Number 9, resolution 20-26 authorizing the exchange of real property rights located in West Hill Cemetery.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In 2013, the City Council granted a 1.05 acre cemetery easement to the Peoples family in West Hill Cemetery. In exchange, they donated the city over a half-acre tract valued at approximately $40,000 to the city. The 1.05 acre easement is in the southeast corner of West Hill Cemetery. It's currently undeveloped, and it's a wooded tract that's pretty steep in grade from bottom of the parcel up to the top. And due to some stormwater concerns downstream from the cemetery easement, city staff feels like it's a good idea to exchange that easement to another location in the cemetery to mitigate some drainage concerns downstream. And so we've been in discussion with the family to exchange that 1.05 acre easement for a 1.03 acre easement at the corner of Lowell Street and General Thomas Drive. A survey of that tract is in the packet. The Peoples family is supportive of this change, and the agreement, if approved tonight by City Council, allows for the city to be involved in the approval process for future improvements on site. And there are cemetery maintenance standards included in the agreement that the family has agreed to. If you approve the resolution, what it does is accept the quit claim of the existing 1.05 acre cemetery easement in exchange for the 1.03 acre easement up at the intersection of Lowell Street and General Thomas Drive. This is an area that the city will not be able to use for direct burial purposes as a result of it being kind of a fill site for dirt and rocks over the years. So we feel like it's a win-win for both the city and the Peoples family to exchange those two easements.
Any questions of Andrew?
No, that was also discussed at public.
Yes, that's correct. Thank you.
There a motion on this?
Motion approved.
Motion by Mr. Cruz, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Harlan, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Andrew, will you relinquish the floor to the next, number 10, point of sale software agreement with Club Profit LLC for Knob North Golf Course?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. This is a new point of sale program and equipment that golf course is looking at, and it'll enhance the sale of goods, control of their inventory, ability to make and adjust fees, allow for an on-time online registration as far as tee times and that type of thing. And all of that would be prepaid type of funding. Upscale the website, which make it more user-friendly and mobile-friendly, because a lot of people using their cell phones to make tee times now. And it's been working out pretty good when they're just doing phone calls and prepaid tee times as it is right now.
Questions, Mike?
Yeah, I do. Mike, I'm trying to scroll to the particulars on this. Did this already go before the rec commission?
Yes, it has, back in September.
Are there,
It was, I would say it was approved, and Eric was really the one pushing it. It's kind of bringing us into the 21st century of tee times, and it also helps, frankly, I would say efficiently maximize revenues in terms of what we charge and when.
Exactly. Yeah, they've done fairly well since we opened back up with COVID.
how long's the contract for?
It's just one lump sum.
Hear a motion on this?
Motion approved.
Motion by Mr. Cruz, there's a second. Second by Mr. Wall. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Is there any supplemental business to come before this body? If not,
Mr. Mayor, we request that everybody who hasn't voted to vote tomorrow.
Your motion, we adjourn?
So moved.
We are adjourned.